listener, if you made it here, if you are actually listening to this, I'm very thankful that you clicked on a link that someone shared. So this is episode 1 of the Don't Do This to Your Band podcast. This is a different take on me producing content for you guys to consume. So the great thing about podcasts and why I love podcasts is that you can consume it passively, driving, cleaning, editing drums. I don't know. However you consume podcasts is fine for me. And for my first podcast episode, I brought in a dear friend of mine. His name is Remi Gallego. We moved to Cologne in the same week into the same apartment. And he is the guy, the computer, the human drum programming machine behind the algorithm. And we had a lot of food, pizza, coffee, drinks together. And I thought it would be really interesting for you guys to hear a story like this. And we talk about a lot of stuff that I didn't know before. And we talk about a lot of interesting and sad stuff as well. So this is very interesting on how someone turned a hobby into his day job. Let's say it is not a day job because he really loves what he's doing. This is a guy that can write 12 hours of music for weeks a day. I hope you enjoy this episode, and I'm really looking forward to doing more of these podcasts. Enjoy. Hello, Remi. Thank you for being here. Thank you for giving me some of your producer time. And we're going to make a public sound check after my audio fuck up. So what did you have for breakfast and what are you drinking right now?
Okay. Hi, first of all. This morning for breakfast I had like cucumbers and a bunch of tomatoes and a bunch of nuts. And I'm drinking coffee right now, which now is empty. So I guess I need another one already.
Okay, tell me when you need another coffee. So thank you for being here. And what's your agenda? What are you doing right now? What are your projects?
So these days, I'm preparing the live show for the festivals that we have this summer. So we have like a Tech Fest festival in 2 weeks, I think. And so I'm preparing just rehearsing a little bit as well. And also working on the soundtrack for a game these days. So it's the first time I'm doing the full soundtrack for a game. I've done tracks for some games in the past. But it's the first time that I'm doing like all of it.
Like they kind of booked you to do the soundtrack. Like, Remi, can you do our soundtrack? That's how it got down. Okay, nice, awesome. So, but you can't talk about the game already, right?
Yeah, I can talk about it actually. If you want to check it out, I am actually because I do streamings on Twitch quite a lot, 2 times per week. And so what I'm doing now on Mondays is I write the soundtrack of the game on Twitch. So I'm actually playing the game and then writing the soundtrack and then going back and forth, and people can, watch the process. And so I'm talking about the game, and you can actually see the game in action,
Nice.
So I think it's pretty cool way to build like hype for the game, and also for people to learn about the process of writing music for games, I guess.
So you got the game without the music, and you can just play it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, awesome. Well, I'm not a gamer, but tell me when it's out.
Yeah.
So let's get to the core. That is my chair that you listeners can hear. On this show, I want to, like, being an artist myself for over 10 years, I want to make a twist on the interview format, because a lot of stuff is boring. I highly respect journalists, but I really want to go into the process of evolving the project, or in your case, your solo computer programming music that it was in the beginning. And I really want to talk about how you got where you are and what are you up to and what was your mindset. And I think, some interesting questions to show people what you have done, because I think it's really, really interesting. So, okay. So what did you do before the algorithm thing? You're a guitar player originally, right?
Yeah, I used to play in like high school bands. Like we had like this metalcore band back in the days. Like nothing big. I was just playing guitar, and we played the same town.
Okay, what time?
Times.
What time was that? Like 2006, 7?
Yeah, I think from 2006 to 2008 or something. Yeah.
Okay.
It was just like a small high school project,
And that was in Montpellier, right?
In Perpignan, actually.
Perpignan, that's okay.
Yeah.
I always change those names, but it's the south of France.
Yeah, they're all really close together.
Okay. And when did you? So you've been in that band, and when did you come to this algorithm music thing? Like, what was the process of going there?
So when the band split up, because we were all going to universities in different towns and stuff, so the band kind of split up at this point, and I still wanted to make music, and so I just picked up audio software and then started messing around with guitar and synthesizer and stuff.
Did you know what you were doing at all?
Not at all.
Okay.
Like, I was very interested about obviously metal and progressive metal and deathcore and like all this music styles, but I was also really interested by electronic music. And as I was studying computer science at the same time, I just liked messing around with softwares, and this is why I started making, this sort of hybrid of metal and electronic music. But I didn't really know what I was doing. I just liked messing around with softwares,
Okay, you like to do weird sounds and breakdowns. Am I getting that
pretty
right?
Much,
okay.
Pretty much.
And with the name, like, was it there in the beginning, or did you come up with that name when you were putting out stuff? Like, you need a name, obviously.
Yeah, I think the first track, I was just making it for my friends. I didn't release it anywhere. It was just like a joke. Okay. Here is like this weird metal breakdown, and then it goes into techno music. Oh, that's so weird. But that was just for the joke,
Yeah.
And then I started to realize that I actually had fun doing it, and a lot of people were enjoying it. So I started releasing stuff on MySpace. And I don't know exactly when the name idea came around, but as I said, I was studying computer at the same time, and like it was an obvious influence for me, like this whole computer science topics and stuff. So just to emphasize the electronic music aspect, I guess I gave a very electronic sounding name, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does absolutely make sense. If you see all your branding and the pictures you put out and the humor, it does make absolute sense. So
yeah,
if anyone who doesn't know you should go right now, check this out and what we are actually talking about. So, but in the beginning, it was just a hobby. Like, you didn't have any or intentions to make this a job or an income, or like the main thing you're doing. That was not the intention at the beginning, right? Or was that the plan?
No, not at all. Like, as I said, I was making music for my friends. Like in the beginning, it was just I didn't even want to sell it. It was just make my friends laugh, because I was on my way to become software engineer. It's like for me, I was going to become a software engineer. I wasn't going to become a musician. But then I got the opportunity to play a bunch of shows and a bunch of festivals, and that's when I started. I realized that I could maybe make a living out of it.
So that leads to the next point. There was, I don't know the exact story, and that's why I have you on. So at one day you got hit up by John Julio Sprich, which was our roommate. Like, we lived with this man,
yeah.
this strange man with wearing a hat. And hey John, we love you, John. And he is the co-founder of the Euroblast Festival. And if anyone who doesn't know it, you can go check it out, euroblast.net. It's a progressive music festival. I think that's it, right? Progressive rock, modern progressive, whatever. So he hit you up and you refused to play. Am I right? Like you didn't really want to do it.
Yeah, well, I wasn't really interested playing this kind of music live because obviously I still am, the computer guy. Like, I like to sit in my computer and do stuff like that.
Inside the computer, actually, inside. Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
And I was very like, how do you say, like, shy of the stage.
Okay.
It was not my things. Like, especially alone. Like, when I was playing in my band, that's fine because we were a band. But going out there alone, I was kind of freaked out by it, and I never really thought of playing this kind of music live. But I thought about it for a while, and then, at this time the festival was getting a lot of traction. It was becoming bigger and bigger every year. So I thought, okay, this might be a good opportunity to, get my music out there and kind of jump into the music industry, I guess.
And how long was the time between the first contact of, hey, you should play at my festival, until the point you are actually going to Cologne? Like, how long in time was that?
What do you mean?
Like what's the time between your first contact with Euroblast?
Yeah,
you should come play live, and when did you actually play? Like, how long was it? 1 year or 2 years? How long did you wait, and how long did you watch the festival progress?
Oh, I think John hit me up in January 2011, and I played the same year October 2011. But so it took me like about 2 or 3 months to make my mind. It wasn't a very long time, but I think at the same time I was feeling very depressed by my school, because I was doing like internship, and I didn't really like it. Like, I like programming and I like computers. I like learning about computer stuff, but I didn't like working in this environment. I like being my own boss and working in a company, in a software company or whatever. It was just not my thing. So, because this happened exactly at the same time, it made me choose the music industry kind of career instead.
But you were alone on stage on that show, or did you already have mic? Or
no, I was alone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then you played this festival, and how was it? You played in the smaller venue, right? Yeah. And like, how I think people haven't heard of that music before. How is that show in your memory?
It's a really good memory. I think what made me feel comfortable is that a lot of friends came to the festival with me. I had about 4 or 5 friends from France that came to the festival with me. So it felt like they were in front of the stage. It felt like a family show. So I wasn't that scared by it anymore. And a lot of people, I was surprised by the amount of people that knew my music already. That was the first thing. Second thing is a lot of people were really either scared or surprised or
scared is a nice word. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like it got a reaction, and that's what I was trying to do. But yeah, I was super stressed out, and I think the performance itself wasn't very good because I was so stressed out and it wasn't that interesting. Now, I'm playing guitar, I'm playing keyboard, and there's a drummer, so it gets more interesting.
Yeah.
But back in the days, it was just a guy in front of a computer, so it wasn't that interesting. But it was a good starting point, and I will always remember that I went on stage. I had like a shirt, and I had like a huge kebab sauce stain on my shirt. And when I went on stage, my friend was like, "Hey, dude, you have a stain on your shirt." And I was like, "I don't care," and I kept playing. And it was just like I looked so stupid, but
And was that was it a one-time show, or did you already have plans for playing other concerts, like bringing the music out and going on tour, so to speak? Or did you have other shows planned, or was that just a one-off?
Yeah, I started getting a few shows, most of them in France. And I think most of them were really bad, actually, except Euroblast was a good one. But all the shows that I did around this period were all kind of really bad. But I was just learning, and I think the music is so weird that it took a very long time for me to understand how it should be played, and
yeah.
Especially in the metal scene, when you see a guy going on stage with a computer and a MIDI controller, you're not exactly hyped by it. It's completely different in the electronic music scene, obviously, but playing, metal festivals with that kind of setup, it was kind of like already a bad idea, I don't know.
Nice. So you started to play with Mike Mellion, the Monuments drummer back then, and how did that work out? Like, did John was already like your proper manager at that point, or wasn't he? Or when did that start?
No, not at that point. So at Euroblast Festival, I also met with Nathan from Basic Records.
Okay.
And so I got signed with Basic Records that day. one hour after I played, I got signed to Basic Records.
Awesome.
Which was kind of weird. I mean, I know that when I went off stage, I had one of my friends waiting for me with a really big joint, and I smoked it. And then I realized that Nathan from Basic Records wanted to talk to me. Okay. And I was like, oh, shit, I'm so high. And my English was really, really bad back in the day. So I always have this memory of talking with this guy and being like so high and just like saying random words with a really bad accent. It's just, but it's still a good thing. And so Nathan knew Mike Mellion because of Monuments, and then I think he was trying to push for him to play for me. So he basically made the connection between me and Mike Mellion, and he pushed Mike to do like a bunch of covers on YouTube, and then eventually to join me in the band.
Okay.
So Mike joined in February 2012. So about 5 months after that. Well, no, that's the first show we played. It was in February 2012. And we played in London with Uneven Structure and Chim Spanner, so like a Basic Records showcase, whatever. Yeah. And it was incredible. It was like such a step up from everything I've done before, and so.
And you wanted to, already wanted to make this a career. Like you're already at the point where you want to push, or not yet.
Yeah, basically, yeah, because I think I was still unsure because obviously I got all these opportunities,
but no money.
Yeah, like very, very little money.
Yeah.
And for me, it was already pretty big, coming from like a really small village in south of France. It's like playing London and playing Germany. All these things were like huge for me. Like it's like it was already incredible. So I was really happy to take these opportunities. And all my friends and my families that were like, they almost didn't believe it. It was already like so big. Obviously, looking back, I realized it was not so big, but it's because now I'm a different sort of level and experience and stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was just like I was just trying to take the opportunity. Like I didn't want to miss it.
It's amazing when you're at the point when you don't really know how big something really is or how small something really is, and you just feel great and you don't care.
Exactly. Yeah,
it's amazing.
I kind of miss these days.
What was your first tour? Let's say more than 3 days on the road. What do you remember about that? What's your strongest memory from the first tour?
So Mike joined in January 2012, and the first tour happened when the first proper album was released with Basic Records in November 2012. So I remember that because I was still unsure if I wanted to go full time into music or not, I decided, which was, looking back, it was a terrible idea, but I decided to go and study acoustic science at the university in Montpellier, actually.
Okay.
So I don't know why. I was just like, I'm kind of into trying to make it into music, but I'm not sure I will properly be successful. So I'm just going to try and get a diploma. But it just didn't make sense because I started going to university and then I got hit up in November. I mean, a bit before, and, people from Basic Records and all these guys were starting to talk about a tour in November. And I was like, oh, but I'm going to university. So I had to cut half of the tour because I still wanted to go to university.
Okay. So did you go to university to learn the audio engineering stuff?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's amazing how, but I did the same thing. Like I studied audio engineering because I thought, okay, I need to make some money. And then you're there and you realize that that it takes a lot of time to make money from audio engineering. And as a musician, it makes total sense to go and study audio engineering to make money besides music.
Yeah,
but it actually doesn't make any sense.
For me, it made sense, but the problem was that I got a lot of shows in the middle of my school time. So I had to choose: either I go and play shows and I miss university, or I just cancel all the shows and I get my diploma. So for this first tour, I had to cut half of the tour because I still wanted to go and do my exams, which I failed because obviously I was spending my time making music and not studying. So this tour was great. I remember
where was it? UK?
In England, yeah. It was a great tour, a good start. It was actually a headline tour. So, first tour being headline in England, in a different country, it was kind of cool for me to have this opportunity as well.
And you were with Mike.
Yeah.
It was the two of you in a car, or obviously...
In a van, and we were sharing with this band called Collisions. Okay. I'm not sure if they exist anymore. They were like drum and bass and metal. Okay,
so an interesting lineup with interesting acts.
Yeah, I think the shows were not so big. Like, I remember London was actually kind of cool, but it was like, I don't know, 100 people, But back in the day,
100 people in London, that's okay.
It's very cool. Yeah, it's very cool for for the level I was at, So yeah, that was the first tour.
And then you did that thing for a couple of years, like not knowing if you should go to university. Did you get the degree in the end or not?
No, I didn't. Well, what happened, because this diploma was just 1 year, but so I went on this tour in November. Then I think in January or February, I got an offer for Download Festival in the UK, which is huge.
Yes.
And that's the point. I was like, okay, if I can get this kind of festival, I should go full time. It means I can do it. So I just completely quit university and focused on music full time from this point. It's when I got the offer from Download Festival.
And so you played Download in 2013 then?
Yeah.
And you moved to Cologne before I did, right? Or was it the same? Didn't we move to Cologne the same week, 2014?
I moved in 2014, I think.
Okay, yeah. So let's jump to that point. Why did you move to Cologne, and how is it to live with your manager?
Well, yeah, I have to think about it. It's a long time ago. It's like 3 years ago.
It's long. It's long.
Yeah. I think I was just trying to get something new, like try something new. And I didn't really know where to go because I was still living with my parents, and
yeah.
I was like, I don't really know what to do. It's like I'm playing a lot of shows, and if I stay in Perpignan, this really small area, there's no airports and stuff, and I always have to get like millions of trains and planes and stuff, so it's not very practical. So going to Germany was like, I was thinking it's in the middle of Europe almost, and it's really easy to either go to France or go to UK, or so it's a great place to be when you're a touring musician, I guess.
But it was a test in the beginning, right? You were just looking how it is, and
yeah,
and you wrote your record in the next room, like in the same
in 1 month. In 1 month, yeah.
In 1 month, okay. And after that month, you got signed to Warner Australia, right?
Yeah, for this record, for this one.
And then I realized that you are for a Central European musician, you are a lot in Australia, like once or twice in 2 years. Like you have just been to Australia, right?
Yeah, we toured with Voyager there, and the past times we were touring there in 2014 actually. One time for a festival called Big Day Out, which does not exist anymore, and another time with 12 Foot Ninja as support.
So that's 3 or 4 times now.
So that's three times.
Do you get a lot of traction in Australia, or is it just the label that wants you there, or are there a lot of people that want you there?
Well, I think it's neither of those things.
Okay. You just want to be there.
I guess it's obviously very easy for a band like The Algorithm to tour because it's just only 2 people.
Yeah.
And I don't have so much gear. So when bands from Australia are looking for bands from Europe to tour with them, it's a good choice because they know we're cheap, cheap as in not expensive.
Not expensive. Yeah, you don't need you only need 2 flights and you only take 2 spaces of sleep, eat and drive.
Exactly. And I think we over the years, and obviously with 12 Foot Ninja and now with Voyager, we are pulling a few more people every time. So it's like we can prove, but we've done Australia already, so maybe it might be a good idea to bring us again, because there will be people that know us already.
Invest some time in there. So another interesting, really, it was so interesting to me that you played in Nepal. And the experiences you and John told me were so weird. Like, can you tell a little bit about Nepal? Whatever comes to your mind. It's so interesting.
Okay,
There's the whole festival thing.
There's a lot of things about it. The first thing is, obviously, we were gonna play me and John. And Jean. I mean, like me and the drummer. But what happened is Jean forgot his passport in France, and then his family tried to send it to Germany.
I remember that,
in time, and then he didn't get it, and so he couldn't come to Nepal with us. So that was the first thing. Like last minute, I learned that I was gonna play alone. Like
for everyone wondering, Jean is the drummer in the algorithm after Mike. So they switched positions just for people wondering who Jean is.
So Jean is a drummer from France, and obviously this time he forgot his passport. So we flew to Nepal without the drummer, and then from what I remember, we were in this huge like residential area, whatever. Like it's a huge house where all the bands were staying. And
were you the only band from Europe?
No, Sixth were playing the festival as well, and a band from Switzerland. I can't remember exactly, but it was like this huge. I don't even know what's the word for it, but it was kind of weird. And the people were really nice. Like the promoters, everyone was amazing. It's just the experience was like such a culture shock, and going in the street and hearing all the horns, like people are driving like crazy over there. It's like, I don't know if you've been to India or this kind of countries. Like people are driving like, it's like going apeshit with the cars. It's crazy. And they're horning all the time. And so it's kind of crazy to see that when you're coming from like Germany or France, it's so different. So it was like a culture shock, but a very interesting experience, and we had a lot of fun with Sixth and the people from Nepal.
How many people were in the audience? Like, was it a big festival, or how does that work over there? Is there like, can you like, is it like download? It's not like download, right?
No. There's just one stage.
Is it a proper stage, or is it more a punk rock approach?
No, it's a really big stage, actually.
Okay.
It's a lot bigger than what we thought we would be seeing. So this really big stage, open air, and then you have a really big area for the audience. I think there were like probably, I don't know, maybe 1,000, 2,000 people.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't really know, like something like that. So it's crazy in Nepal, it's like, what's happening? Like, I don't know why there were so many. I think I know why. Yeah. It's because they don't have a lot of shows over there, right? Yeah. They don't have a lot of metal shows. And so when something like that is happening, it doesn't matter which bands are playing. They just go to the show.
They're just coming.
Yeah.
So how was the organization? Like, did they know anything about organizing a concert in a Western style? Like, or was it completely different, like, than in Europe?
It was actually surprisingly well done. I think it's because the main guy behind the festival traveled Europe a lot. I think he might be from Switzerland as well.
Okay.
Well, he looked Nepalese, so maybe he lived in Switzerland for a while. I can't remember exactly, but he's like, this very rich guy, and then he's doing this festival on his own, and so he knows what he's doing, and because there's a lot of money invested in it, I think they know, like they have good equipment, they have a lot of people working, So it's okay to have like security. There were like in the audience, there were a few guys that were in the mosh pit, they were fighting each other. And because they don't know how to behave in mosh pits, they never go to metal shows. So for them, maybe it's just fighting. They don't really understand. I don't know.
They just think you have to fight. Like you have to be
exactly.
angry.
Exactly. And so, but luckily there was security, so that's a good thing. It's like nothing really happened. It's just so I think it was pretty good. And the sound was good. Like everything was actually on point.
Nice. And you did some traveling as well. Like they showed you around in the Kathmandu area as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we went to this club at some point, and we got kind of drunk, and then we traveled around the city a lot. It's very beautiful, actually. We didn't go to the mountains, sadly.
How long were you there? How long was the...
I think maybe 5 days.
Oh, nice.
The festival was just 1 day, so we had a lot of time to actually visit and do stuff. And sleep, because obviously planes and jet lag and all of this.
So that was 2015, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't it? And then what I wanted to talk about is a very interesting thing that not a lot of people know about, and that is the fact that we both got declined to play the USA at the same time. Both our bands burned a lot of thousands of dollars on a visa, and here's the information, people: you don't get the money back. They don't give you the money back. And you're losing, including flights, you lose about $2,000 per person. Was that the same amount with you guys?
Yeah, I think in total maybe 3,000. That's what we lost. Obviously, we're only 2 people, so we lost less than you guys. I guess
times 4. I think we just, it was roughly 9K. What we lost.
Okay,
and
that
we
sucks.
Played all summer for this opportunity, and then with us it was 2 days before. We knew 2 days before the flights. We knew that we can't go, or 2.
Yeah,
wasn't it the same with you? Like
it was the same. We were waiting for the visa until the last time, and even we were willing to get some new flights and miss like a few shows. If the visa arrived after the first show, but it didn't happen. The visa arrived way too late, and
but you got it in the end, right? You got it.
Yeah, we actually got it. I think that's the difference, because you didn't get it.
We didn't get it. No, they didn't decline, but we didn't get it as well. It was really just to bring some darkness into this podcast episode. Okay,
so dark. This podcast is too dark.
So dark. Okay, let's go to the next thing I got on my list here. Why did you move to Berlin? You're living in Berlin right now.
Yeah, I am.
Is it because you're an artist, or no? What's the main reason you moved from Cologne to Berlin?
I don't think there's like one reason. It's just like a bunch of stuff that happened at the same time. Obviously, I like electronic music, and Berlin has a lot of electronic music, and it's not like a cliche. It's actually true. There's so much stuff here, so it's very interesting for someone like me. And I still suck at German, obviously.
So in Berlin, you're set. In Berlin, you don't need German in Berlin.
Yeah, which is kind of a lazy way to live, but
you've been sneaking your way out of German.
I know,
because you're basically not living in Germany anymore.
Yeah,
Berlin is a different breed of city.
Yeah, that's true. That's very different from the rest of Germany, I guess. But so it's cool to meet people from all around the world. It's like I think it's more like the vibe I was trying to find.
Are you inspired by the city itself, like by the how it is? Does it inspire you?
Yeah, it's very interesting, especially these days. I think in winter it's kind of horrible. Like, well, it's not horrible. It's just very sad and gray, and so it's very hard. And I moved in around winter, so I got it here, and I was like, oh, this is so cold and gray. But then these days, because summer is now approaching. Well, we're in summer right now, so everything gets sunnier, and everything gets beautiful, And I think it's a very beautiful city, and there's a lot of interesting people, and for musicians, it's really good because there's so many musicians and there's so much stuff you can do, like a lot of concerts, but also a lot of workshops, and they're all in English. Like I went to this native instruments workshop the other day, and everyone talks English.
Was it over just music?
No, it was in a club actually.
Okay,
but it was just like a workshop.
So what did they do? Like did they show you new crazy music interfaces, or what was it? What was it about?
Well, obviously they promote some of the new hardware stuff, but also they talk about like what's philosophy of, for example, looping in music, like why we loop music, what can we do with that, and so it's very interesting. There's a lot of talks from a lot of artists, a lot of hardware, engineer people. So it's just like a bunch of talks, and I think it was really interesting. And there's a lot of stuff like that happening in the city.
Yeah, it has a lot to offer, and I can go to Berlin like 3 to 4 days, and after that it just fucks me up. But I haven't been there for a longer period in a long time. We're actually going to see Jamiroquai in November.
Ah, cool.
In Berlin, so we're there for 3 days.
I think it's really easy to get distracted when you live here, because as I said, there's so much stuff.
I think the same goes for Cologne. You can do something every day, and people are doing something every day, and everything's happening every day.
Yeah.
And it's just yourself being like disciplined, not doing stuff. But we are computer people, and for me, it's not really hard to not get distracted by the outside world. I have to fight myself to go out and do something.
Yeah, it's actually the same for me. But
So you talked about, like, when we started this 40 minutes ago, you started to talk about the Twitch thing you were doing.
Yeah.
How did that start? You're writing. For what I'm getting is you write 2 hours a day on 2 days per week. You're going live and you write a song.
Yeah.
And
so yeah.
How did that happen? How did that come to life?
So the idea is, as you said, write a track in under 2 hours. So at first I wanted to do some kind of series on YouTube, and do like write a track in 30 minutes challenge or whatever.
Yeah.
But then I started, looking into Twitch, and I watch streamers myself, and I got really interested in the way, they're interacting with people, and I think it's very dynamic, and I really like it. So I was like, okay, why not? I want to try it. And at first it's really hard because there's some kind of pressure, knowing that people are watching you walk. It's like
right now.
Weird, yeah, it's a weird pressure. But the more I'm doing it, the more I'm getting used to it, and I like this feeling. I like feeling that I'm getting better at something, and so that's why I keep doing it. And it's great because people can interact in a lot of ways. They can ask questions. They can suggest things to put in the tracks. Sometimes it's good ideas, sometimes it's not, but it's very interesting to have this conversation with people. And they can also, get the track, they can donate money, like they can even donate like €1 and get the track and the project files and all of that. So it's like they can directly contribute to the wealth of the artist, I guess. And
it's a very, very interesting interface between a creator and people.
Yeah, and I'm very interested in, this whole topic because I've been obviously working with labels and managers a lot from in the past. Now I'm actually alone completely. So for me, I kind of want to go more in this direction of having no barrier between the artist and the audience, because I think it's much more interesting. Like, I read this interview from the guy from Volbeat the other day, and he was saying, "Oh, but now these days there's too much transparency between artists and fans. We don't have this, mystical feeling anymore." But I don't agree with him. I think it's
I don't
stupid.
agree as well, and that's the beautiful part about the world we live in, that it's changing every day. So you don't need someone between you and the audience anymore. You can just go and do it. If you want to start a TV show, you can go do it. You can go shoot the TV show and put it on YouTube. It's amazing. If you want to start a radio show, you can go start a podcast. And if you want to show people how you write a song in 2 hours, you can just go and do it. And they actually want to give you money. And that's, and you, for example, are someone that proves all those people wrong that say there's no money in music. You just have to go get it. Like, you can make a living out of music. Otherwise, we would not be talking, because you would have died already. It wouldn't be possible. So you're doing this Twitch thing 2 times a week. That's 4 hours of your entire week. So what does your day look like when you're not on the road? Like, what is your daily work like? You're doing a lot of stuff.
So I like to do a lot of stuff, and I try to have some sort of list of things I do every day. So these days I'm working on this soundtrack, for example. I'm doing a Twitch stream. If I have something, let me rephrase it.
Okay.
Because I have a lot of projects at the same time, I have to schedule my days in specific ways. So today I know that I'm doing a stream, but also I have to work on this soundtrack. Also, I'm working on this side project, which is kind of like electronic focused project. So it's like I have so many things at the same time. I need to say today I'm doing 2 or 3 things maximum.
Yeah, prioritize your workload.
Yeah, so I spend most of my days in front of a computer, either writing music or, improving my website, or sending mails, or trying to get work, I guess. I'm trying to learn more about programming, because I want to get into programming audio softwares as well.
Okay.
So, but I'm doing everything kind of at the same time, and it can get really difficult to focus on something. So that's why I try to do a few things per day, but do them every day, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely makes sense, because everyone working from home is a hard thing to do, because you are responsible for your focus, and you decide what you focus on. And sometimes it's really hard, because at the end of the day, you can't really see what you have done. It's just ones and zeros somehow.
Yeah.
And
but that's why it's great to have like a list where you can check
amazing
stuff. And
I think couldn't live without lists.
Yeah, me neither. Like, when I don't do lists, I end up not doing anything, or I feel like I haven't done anything. It's weird.
Okay. Yeah. So I have a couple of like the don't do this to your band questions.
Okay.
I just named it like that. So what would you tell your 10-year younger self? It doesn't have anything to do with your band or your project, but what would you tell your 10-year younger self? What would that be?
I guess to not start smoking.
Are you still smoking?
No, I quit smoking like 3 years ago or something.
Nice, me too. Nice.
But I think it fucked me up a little bit when I was in my early 20s. Apart from that, just trying to get more into a healthy lifestyle, because I think I've only recently realized how important it is. I used to not care so much about food or smoking, alcohol, or sports or anything like that. And as I get older, I'm like, oh shit, it actually matters. So
when are you born? 89?
Yeah.
Oh, so we're the same age. I think about death every day, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think it's weird for a lot of people to hear, but I'm actually thinking about death every day. And that's the reason for a lot of actions for me, because you're dying. And that's that's the most motivational sentence out there for me. You're dying, and that's it.
Yeah, so, I get what you're trying to say.
You're dying.
I think I feel the same thing.
That's the quote of the year. Okay.
I think I'm always really anxious to thinking about myself in 10 years and thinking, oh, I hope I will feel that I've done things with my life.
Yeah.
Or when I die, I'm always really anxious about that, which is at the same time it can be a great tool to motivate myself, but also it's a very sad and depressing thing.
Depends on how you think about it.
Yeah, it depends on days and the mood and the weather, I guess.
So next thing, what makes you angry or disappointed about other upcoming artists or other upcoming people? What do you think sucks? Or you don't have to call names.
Yeah.
Or I wouldn't call names.
No.
What do you think do people do wrong?
Wow, there's a lot of things.
It's actually a lot of things. I didn't think about the answers.
Well, I think there's one thing, especially in the in the style that I'm making, which is fusion of genres and trying to bridge the gaps between genres and stuff. Yeah. I see a lot of artists trying to do the same thing, but they explicitly are like, oh, hey guys, I'm doing gent step, or hey guys, I'm doing trap deathcore. It's that's not how you do it. You should just make music and stop advertising it as one genre. Because if you're trying to break genres, then why are you trying to make a new one? It doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense. That brings me to another question, which is not in this segment, but I think French artists are really, really different from the rest of the world, let's say.
Okay.
And it feels like there were never any boundaries in French music, French art, French artists. And why? What do you think why that is? You take, for example, Daft Punk, and they were big people for electronic music, but no one can recreate what they are doing because they're so unique. And if I watch even in black metal or extreme metal, if I compare, let's not say compare, but if I look at French black metal bands, they're way more artistic, and they're French music and artists just way more interesting. Do you know why that is, or do you have an answer to that? Do you guys just enjoy life more?
Yeah, I can't really tell, but I mean, I know what you mean, but I can't really explain why. But I think there's some sort of sensibility that you specifically like, and because there's obviously France has a lot of culture, a lot of history. There's a lot, and so I think it's easy for French people to kind of bring all of this culture and all this knowledge that we have into something, and and I don't know.
Let's say French people just express themselves differently.
There's
free.
There's also, I think, this research, this will to do something that will be unique. That's a lot of times. A a lot of French artists are trying to do that. Like, it's part of the process, trying to be unique.
They want to be different. I think that's the answer. If you look at underground bands in Germany, they don't want to be different, and I don't get it. Why don't you want to be different? That's the whole thing about making art.
Yeah, they just want to do something that they like exactly the same. I mean, a lot of French bands also are doing that. I think it's not specifically only German bands or whatever, but the successful French bands, a lot of times, they're trying to bring something new. They're trying to be brave, I guess.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like, that's the point, people. Be different. Do something different, or don't do it. Like, do something different.
Yeah.
What would you say you did wrong, like in a music sense, in your project? Would you point something out where you say, I would have done that differently?
I'm not very happy with my music videos.
Okay.
I respect the work done by the video guy, Richard Oakes. He's done videos for me. I really respect his work, and I think he's done great work. But like the artistic direction, I think I don't really relate to it so much, and it kind of, I feel like cringe now thinking about it.
I totally understand.
So, and in general, the artistic direction in the beginning, like, I didn't really go as far as I wish I would have gone. So, but it's all like mistakes that make me learn now, and hopefully what I'm doing in the future will reflect more than what I'm really trying to do.
Yeah, and that fits the next question. Are there things that you wish you would have done earlier, like starting to Twitch earlier, starting to do live streams, or I don't know? Is there something you wish you would have done earlier?
I've been playing guitar live, like playing instruments live, because I was thinking about it since the beginning. Like, since the beginning, I was thinking about playing guitar on stage, but I didn't do it because I thought I was a bad guitarist, or I thought I just could not do it, and I was actually scared. And I think this fear,
the fear of other people's point of view.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, and it got me a really long time before I did it. And it's not perfect, and especially in the beginning it was not perfect, but now I feel like, but if I started in the beginning, it's like all this time, I feel like I wasted a little bit of my early days just because I was scared of it.
Yeah, I totally understand that. With the program I'm doing right now, I wanted to do this 5 years ago. Okay, I have random questions for you too.
Okay.
Because they're random.
Okay,
which animal?
That's random.
Which animal would you be and why? Just one.
I think I would be a dog, because I love dogs, and I think that I would love to be a dog and play with other dogs and talk with them.
Amazing. Okay.
Yeah.
What was your first drunk memory?
My first drunk memory.
Yes. What do you remember?
I don't remember most of it, but I was in this party. It was like in the forest in the summer.
Okay.
And we were all so young, and I don't know what happened. Like, we were just drinking and playing guitar really bad, and just talking. And I remember that at some point I got lost, and I ended up in a parking lot for some reason. And it was like in the middle of the night, and I was like, what am I doing here? And then, I don't know, it took me such a long time to find the party again. I spent most of my night just looking for the party, actually. But I was already really drunk, So
okay, so it's a confused memory.
Yeah.
Okay, do you have a point of view that other people think is really weird? an opinion on something, or something that you think about it that way and you're absolutely sure that everyone thinks that this is weird?
Okay. Well, I know that a lot of people don't think like that, but sometimes when I tell people that I spend most of my time in front of a computer and working at home, some people, they don't understand that, and maybe they think I'm just doing nothing, so it's sometimes hard to explain what I'm doing to people.
I can't explain as well. It's not possible, because 80% of the people that are even asking what you are doing, they won't understand. They won't understand what you tell them.
Yeah.
So
they don't get the point.
You're doing nothing.
Maybe. Yeah.
What is the first thing you do in the morning?
Well, I drink water and coffee.
Sick. It's odd.
Yeah, that's weird. It's really random.
Okay, so what do you like about living in Germany, and what do you miss about living in France? So if there was one thing you could take from France into Germany, like one fact or one Super Rue or something, anything.
Well, I miss going to a party and just being able to talk with everyone in French, in my native language, Because here I would go to parties and stuff, but I have to talk English, and sometimes people, they don't really talk English because I fucking German, and they don't need to because I live in Germany. It's not like me. So sometimes I would miss that. Like, this is really, like, living in a different country. It's not always easy, and this is part of why. It's because of this language barrier. So I guess that's what I miss the most, like feeling really free with
language.
With language, yeah. Because I can speak English with people, and I think I'm talking pretty good English, but it's just sometimes I still miss being able to talk French, because it's much more fluid, and obviously for me.
I discovered a website for problems like that, which is called meetup.com. Do you know that?
Oh yeah, I've gone to a few meetups already.
Me too. It's I think it's amazing. Have you had good experiences?
Well, the ones I went to were like for video game developers.
Okay.
So it's like a bunch of talks about video game.
Maybe you should just start a baguette party or something, or croissant baking.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
French music producer meetup, and no one is allowed to talk about music. I think you would get some people in Berlin for that.
That's a really good idea.
So I'm out of questions. Thank you very, very, very much for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
Who do you think I should have on this podcast? Anyone you would want to hear me talk to?
You can try, Igor, the black metal, baroque, electronic, weird guy from France.
I didn't have him in mind. It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think you can talk with him a lot about like this French thing, sensibility thing you're talking about. So, yeah, he's a really cool guy.
Nice. I will try that. It's very, very fascinating, French artists. And tell our audience where they can find you. Where do you want people to go? Your website?
So, yeah, Twitter, on my website, on Facebook, on Twitch, YouTube as well. Oh, yeah, I'm also streaming on YouTube now because I realize I can do it at the same time. So if people don't want to sign up for an account on Twitch, they can also just watch a live stream on YouTube now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, merci.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Hey, a short thank you for listening to this. I really appreciate it, and it means a lot to me. This is huge for me. So if you liked it, give it a 1 star. If you really liked it, give it a 5 star. Your word of mouth is very important to me. And if you loved it, share it with your friends and let me know who you want to listen me talk to, if that makes any sense. So thank you and see you next time. Or here.